This time, it's war. Hello, everybody. I am back for another movie review, and this time I'm going to focus on another film that is another huge sequel to the original movie, and this time, this is Aliens. Aliens is an action science fiction / horror film that came out back in 1986 by director James Cameron, and it follows after the events of Alien, where we have Ellen Ripley, who's now lost in deep space after the events of the first film, and who was eventually found by a cargo smuggling crew, and ultimately is debriefed by the Weyland-Yutani Corporation about the events of the first film, where she destroyed her ship, the Nostromo, in order to destroy a creature that they found on a nearby planet, LV-426. Well, of course, the corporation doesn't really believe her that the creature she described actually exists, because apparently, for the last 20 years, she apparently had been adrift in space for 57 years. And for the last 20, they've actually had people colonizing on LV-426. But after they lose contact with the colony, one of their representatives, Carter Burke, sends Ripley, hopefully try to get her to be involved with the fact that they want to send a team of military men out there to try to find out what's going on. But she only goes along with only one true intention, to make sure that they're going out there to wipe these monsters out. Not to study them, nor to bring them back, but to wipe them out. Or so you'd think. So these crack military soldiers obviously do not know defeat, and they rush into battle head on. But of course, unfortunately, what they don't realize is they're going head on into a battle that their enemy has the massive advantage over them. So what follows is basically just absolute chaos. And in the midst of it all, they discover a lone survivor, a young girl named Rebecca, who prefers to be called Newt. And of course, since earlier in the film, Ellen Ripley learns that her daughter has recently passed, she looks at Newt as her own daughter, so the two bond pretty quickly. So yeah, there is a lot to take into this movie, but this movie, despite being 137 minutes long, which I think would make it the longest of all the Alien films, but this movie is just one non-stop pure adrenaline rush from beginning to end. Though it does have a bit of a slow start, but once it gets into the action, it does not let up. It is non-stop intensity, non-stop thrills, and it's just a pure adrenaline fest. That's all I gotta say about Aliens. Aliens was actually a huge hit when it came out in 1986. I mean, it was made on a budget of $18.5 million, and in the States alone, it grossed $85 million domestically, and worldwide it made over $160 million actually around $180 million worldwide, so the movie was very profitable. At the time, it did receive loads of praise from critics, although there were some that criticized the film for being too dark, too full of action, way too violent, way too terrifying. But, for a film of this quality, that's something to be expected. I mean, you kind of have to... I mean, the first Alien act was an adrenaline fest of its own, but the second film, I mean, not to mention, the title is pure genius. I mean, it's not Alien 2, it's not Alien the Return, it's Aliens. The title alone is perfect. In the first movie, Alien, there was only one alien that attacked the entire crew. But in this movie, there's many of them. And it's appropriate to call the title Aliens. It's perfect. And they also decided to make Ellen Ripley more of a badass hero in this film than in the first movie. Where in the first film, it was really truly all about survival. But in this movie, she takes center stage and literally becomes the true hero of the entire picture. So if you ask me, this is really Ellen Ripley's movie over everything else. You got all these military guys and even women that are total badasses, and they make Ellen Ripley stand out amongst them all, but by the end of the movie, Ripley literally becomes an even bigger badass than any of them ever have. Pretty much. At my local movie theater had a flashback cinema thing, and I actually was able to finally see this movie on the big screen. And unfortunately, the only version they had was the theatrical cut, not the extended version on the Blu-ray here, which I'll get to momentarily. Obviously, Aliens was a huge influence on multiple genres, also including video games like. Well, it spawned off merchandise like action figures, even spawned off video games of its own, and of course, the Alien franchise did continue, but years later. I mean, Alien 3 wouldn't come out until about 6 years after this movie was released. At the Academy Awards, the film picked up 7 nominations at the Oscars. It was nominated for, let's see, visual effects, production design, sound editing, film editing, Best Original Score for James Horner, and a Best Actress nomination for Sigourney Weaver, which at the time was a huge breakthrough because most science fiction films didn't get an Oscar nomination of that high quality, but Sigourney Weaver bagging a nod for Best Actress, that was unheard of at the time. But I will say, Sigourney Weaver definitely reached an all-time high with this movie at the time. Of course, even though she did come off of the success of Ghostbusters. So still, that's pretty impressive. And after watching it again, I'm thinking, you know what? But that's okay because, having a nomination was great enough. So that's still a pretty impressive move there. She also got the Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress too, in drama. At the Saturn Awards, the film picked up a pretty hefty number of nominations and winning quite a few, 8 of them to be exact. And it nearly swept the entire acting ensemble. Like all the nominations, all the acting categories they have, actor, actress, best supporting actor, best supporting actress. And the Saturns even have a category for best performance by a younger actor. The movie nearly won in all those categories. Jeanette Goldstein, who played Vasquez, won Best Supporting Actress. Bill Paxton, who played Hudson, won Best Supporting Actor. Carrie Henn, who played Newt in the film, the little girl, won Best Performance by a Younger Actor. Sigourney Weaver took Best Actress. Michael Biehn, who played Hicks, was nominated for Best Actor, but unfortunately he didn't win. He lost that year to Jeff Goldblum from The Fly. But Jeff Goldblum did a great performance in that movie, so can't really complain about that. But Aliens, as I've said, was a huge influence on multiple video game franchises. Honestly, the video game franchises Contra, Metroid, and even Dead Space, and even, in a way, Halo, I guarantee you, if the Alien franchise hadn't been as successful as it has, I don't think any of those game franchises would have existed. I mean, Contra owes much of its existence to Aliens. And the same goes with Metroid. And in a way, Halo. And also, in a way, Dead Space. In fact, Dead Space is like Alien meets The Thing, almost. If you think about it. So yes, this movie was a huge influence on multiple game genres, and of course, many action films followed in the same suit that kind of had the same formulaic structure as Aliens did. There were some people that did, like I said, some critics at the time complained that the film was way too violent, way too action-packed for a film of this quality, but over time, people overlooked all that, and people were like, oh, some of the critics just, half the time, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just looking for stuff to bitch about. And usually, most of the time, they are. Currently, the film has a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the movie in time, even to this date, it's still considered not only one of the greatest science fiction films of its kind, one of the best action films of its kind, but it's often looked at as one of the greatest movie sequels ever made in history. And to this date, it still retains that title. I remember finding a list of, I think I found a list online. It's an old, outdated list, but they had a list of the top 50 greatest movie sequels of all time. They actually put Aliens at the top at number 1. I mean, that is debatable because there are other sequels out there that are, are in heavy competition with that title, like Empire Strikes Back, Godfather Part 2, and even Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And this marked the second collaboration between James Cameron and James Horner after they worked together on Battle Beyond the Stars, except Cameron was an art director. That was all his involvement was with the movie. And James Horner did the music. And of course, I also happen to have the film score here of Aliens on CD by James Horner, which, by the way, I believe Aliens got him his first Academy Award nomination for Best Original Score. And apparently, I kind of felt bad for James Horner because he was rushed on a really tight deadline to get the music composed before the movie was released. So he didn't have much time to actually do the music. So a lot of the music in the film is recycled over and over. Not from previous film scores, mind you. It could have been, but he had to reuse a lot of it. But this soundtrack I have here is the special deluxe edition, which has even more music on the CD than on the previous one. So this is arguably the best version of the soundtrack to get a hold of on CD. I'm not sure how much it is, but yeah, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bonus tracks that were never released before, but it has the asterisk previously unreleased. There's a lot of them here that have not. There was an original soundtrack CD that contained a lot of these tracks, but this one has a bunch of new ones that were made specifically for that release, which is pretty impressive. Aliens has been released on home video countless times. Of course, I was able to actually see it in the theaters, but not in its initial release. I did later see it on a flashback cinema, which, for a movie like this is the one kind of film that I would have liked to see it on the big screen, and I finally got the chance to see it. So, first time I ever watched Aliens was on home video, on VHS. And then I eventually got myself a copy of it on DVD, and then I eventually bought the Alien Quadrilogy DVD set, which is a massive DVD release of the film. It was like 8 or 9 discs, and it came with a wealth of material on the making of, well, the first 4 Alien films. So, Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection all came in that set. So now I have the Blu-ray. Unfortunately, I wish I had a case, like a regular standard Blu-ray case to talk about, but this Blu-ray of Aliens I have here is part of the Alien Anthology set, which, by the way, this Blu-ray set is just gorgeous. Oh man, I love, oh man, that is gorgeous. I love how that holographic thing, look at that, that's cool. And of course, so gorgeous. Yeah, inside here are the 4 movies. There's Alien. And there's Aliens. That's actually where the Blu-ray would go for Aliens, right there. I do have one complaint. I am just not fond of these cardboard sleeve cases. I don't know why. I'm just not a fan of them. I would just like for a simple plastic thing to insert the disc onto to keep it in place. I'm not a fan of this. I mean, because in order to get these things out, you literally have to use your fingernails and stuff to literally lift the sucker out and pull it out. But thankfully, though, Blu-rays are pretty tough. Like, you can wipe off scratches off them pretty easily. But still, I'm just not a fan of this packaging. And that's Alien 3 right there. There's Alien Resurrection. When I do an Alien review marathon, I'll eventually talk about these films in greater detail. But, yeah. And there's 2 bonus discs with, I believe, there's 2 of them. Yep, there's the second, there's the first, and there's the second. So, without further, I'll go ahead and talk about the Blu-ray now. So the Blu-ray presentation of Aliens is, honestly, it's fantastic. The video quality on the disc, honestly, looks pretty good for a film of this, for, what the film, represents at the time. The movie is presented in 185x1 anamorphic, which, by the way, to this date is the only Alien film in the entire franchise. That includes the other 3 and that original ones. That also includes the 2 Alien vs. Predator films and the 2 new ones, the 2 more recent ones, Prometheus and Alien Covenant. This is the only one that's shot in the 185x1 format. And honestly, it looks good. Looks very good. Lots of detail I never noticed before in any of the previous versions. It was even released separately back in 2016 to commemorate the film's 30th anniversary. So I'm sure it's been given the 4K treatment. So, but like I said, it holds up very well. The video quality looks fantastic. A little bit of grain here and there, but especially during the darker sequences. But there is loads of detail to be found here. And again, the visual effects look amazing in high def. I mean, for a film that won the visual effects Oscar, it definitely holds up. It really does. Any of the scenes in space look amazing. So out of 5 stars, I would probably give it a 4.5. That's how good the film looks. How well it holds up over time. You can even see on the Blu-ray disc it has the THX logo, so usually that means a movie's actually going to look and sound really good. A lot of James Cameron's movies have been remastered in THX, so Aliens definitely got it. The audio, oh man, it's pulse pounding. What can I simply say? I really don't have to go into deep detail about the audio. This is one loud movie. And for a film that won the sound editing Oscar, oh yeah, I forgot it. Of the 7 Oscar nominations it received, it managed to win 2 of them, winning for visual effects and sound editing, which were both very well-deserved wins for this movie. So yeah, this film did win the sound editing Oscar, and it was nominated for sound, which I believe Platoon took away that Oscar. But Aliens is one loud movie. I don't need to go into deep detail. The dialogue sounds great, and during any of the action scenes, the sound effects are great, and even James Horner's pulse-pounding score is incredible too. His music in the film really intensifies the scenery. So, really don't have much to say about the audio. Out of 5 stars, it gets a solid 5. As for the bonus features, well, the movie disc doesn't really have much, but they dedicated the other extras. Any of the behind-the-scenes stuff are all included on the 2 bonus discs. So the movie disc extras, the disc extras here on the movie disc, what we got here is, starting off, we get an audio commentary with James Cameron, which I think is only available on the director's cut version, because that's the version he prefers. And it's also nice that Aliens gets not one but 2 different versions of the movie. You can watch the original 1986 version, or you can watch the 1990 director's cut version that James Cameron personally prefers. And I chose to watch the extended version of the film. And honestly, I actually enjoyed the new footage. It adds about 20 minutes of extra footage to the theatrical cut, making it 157 minutes. Even to this date, still the longest Alien film. But the extra footage really does add more to the story. Some of the extra footage, well, some of the best footage includes images from the colony before the alien attack. So it really, it's a nice little extra treat to see. So we actually get to see Newt before she shows up later in the film, which is pretty impressive. There's actually 2 more audio tracks on the CD, on the disc. There is a isolated score by James Horner, and there is yet another isolated score that I think that was used on the original theatrical cut score, I believe, before they had to re-edit the music. So that's all and also there's a deleted scene marker too. So if you chose to watch the director's cut, there's an option where you can actually see which footage is brand new and what isn't, which is pretty cool. And also, all the Alien movies on Blu-ray come with a Mother Mode feature where if you activate it, say like you were to take out Aliens and pop in like Alien 3 or the first Alien, it will instantly take you straight back to where you were, which is pretty cool. So you don't have to worry about going through like, the extra screens to see the Fox logo and stuff like that. If you activate that feature on the disc, it should take you straight to the movie itself, or whatever bonus feature you wanted to leave you were left off on. And if you choose to watch the extended cut, it also comes with an intro with James Cameron as he talks very quickly about the movie. As for the additional stuff like the behind the scenes and whatnot, yeah, as I've shown here in the Alien Anthology set, there's actually 2 discs that are loaded with bonus materials. And yeah, each one has about several hours worth of extras. Documentaries, featurettes that go into deep detail on all 4 movies. But Oh, there we go. I like how it even has a viewer's guide. What's this? Mother mode. Oh yeah, that's talking about. I was talking about where if you pop any of the discs in, you can actually access right away before. Let's see here. Inside here, there should be a. Okay, here it is, disc 5. Yeah, the first disc of the bonus features. They go. Yeah, here we go. Superior Firepower, Making Aliens, and it's basically a comprehensive look at the comprehensive documentary on the making of the film. Loads of stuff here, and the other documentaries are about each of the individual films. So the second disc with the bonus features goes into, again, yeah, there's the stuff about Alien, and here's all the stuff about Aliens. Yeah, look at that. Pre-production, yeah, visualization and stuff. Production image galleries, the workshop where they did all the creature effects. Yeah, literally, like all that stuff. All 6 of them, all 4 movies actually get their own individual bonuses, which is pretty amazing. They managed to cram all that stuff into 2 separate discs, which is pretty amazing. So honestly, the Alien Anthology set, is this Blu-ray set worth grabbing? Yes, it is. Although right now it currently runs at about $40 on Amazon, so honestly, that's not too bad. That's actually pretty good for being 6 Blu-ray discs crammed into one package. But also, all 4 movies come with their own individual. All 4 movies come with 2 different versions of the film. They all get their own individual extras, but it's really nice for this packaging. So, as for the bonus materials on Aliens, it gets a solid 5. That's how much material there is on this movie, so definitely gets a solid 5. As for the movie itself, I would definitely give it a solid 5 out of 5. Literally, one of the greatest movie sequels ever made in history. Literally. And in some ways, it even surpasses the original. I mean, is it just as scary as the original? Oh yeah, it is just as scary. The original won the Saturn for Best Science Fiction Film of 1980. This film also took Best Science Fiction Film, and James Cameron took Best Director at the Saturns. And although Sigourney Weaver did not win the Oscar or the Golden Globe for Best Actress, she did win the Saturn that year. And the visual effects in the film, Aliens won the Oscar, the Saturn, and it even won the BAFTA, the British Academy Award, for that too. And as I said, the score by James Horner is just as amazing, so honestly, highly recommended. So if you haven't had a chance to watch Aliens, you have no idea what you're in for. This movie is just one hell of an amazing adrenaline rush. And how did I not go this entire review without mentioning the two of the greatest quotes that this movie actually has? It's right after the military gets their butt kicked, and Hudson's like, "That's it, man! Game over, man! Game over!" Or Ripley's best line in any Alien movie is right near the end when she confronts the alien queen. "Get away from her, you bitch!" Two of the most quotable lines from that entire film. Literally. So honestly, Aliens is definitely a must-watch. It's a great adrenaline rush of action, suspense, and pure terror, all wrapped up into one movie. Highly recommended. Or, I take that back. Not highly recommended. A must-watch. So, this concludes the presentation. I hope you enjoyed watching it. And I will continue to do more videos in the days to come. So until then, take care and be safe.